Hey everyone, I am Aman Kushwaha and I am from the CS department. My class is CS1 and I would like to present you a presentation about CIE XYZ model. So we talk about here an overview of the fundamental color space. Welcome to the presentation on the CIE XYZ color model. This color model is an essential concept in color science and color management. It is the foundation of many other color spaces, and understanding it is crucial for anyone working with colors in variant fields, from design to photography to printing. What is CIE XYZ model? The CIE XYZ color model is a mathematical representation of all colors visible to the human eye. It was developed by International Commission on Illumination (CIE) in 1931 to provide a universal color standard. The XYZ color space is based on three primary colors X, Y, and Z. These three values are used to define any color that we can see. So these are the diagram related to CIE XYZ model. You can take a look how it's presented, and there is another diagram. It's like point of equal energy where the every color is equal. So three primary colors. So let's talk about the three primary colors of the CIE XYZ color model are X, Y, and Z. These are not the traditional red, green, and blue primary colors, but are based on the color matching functions on the human eye. X represents the red, green axis, Y represents luminance or brightness, and Z represents the blue-yellow axis. By combining these three primary colors, any color visible to human eye can be defined. The fundamentals of color perception. Color perception is a complex process that involves the interaction of light, the eye, and the brain. The human eye contains specialized cells called photoreceptors that are sensitive to different wavelengths of light. There are two types of photoreceptors in retina: rod and cones. Rods are responsible for vision in low light conditions, while cones are responsible for color vision in bright light. The trichromatic theory of color vision is also known as Young-Helmholtz theory proposes that color vision is based on the presence of three types of cones in the retina, each sensitive to a different range of wavelength. The three types of cones are commonly referred to as short wavelengths, S medium wavelength, M represent medium wavelength, long wavelength represented by L. So by combining the signals from these three types of cones, the brain is able to perceive a wide range of colors. The fundamentals of color perception, the CIE XYZ model, is based on the stimulus theory of color, which states that any color can be defined by three values or stimulus values. In the case of the CIE XYZ model, these values are X, Y, and Z, which represent the amount of energy absorbed by the eye's three types of cones in response to a stimulus. These distribution of light source, the spectral reflectance or transmittance of the object being viewed. So components of the CIE XYZ model. The CIE XYZ model is a mathematical model that describes the way in which the human eye responds to color stimuli. The model is based on the stimulus theory of color, which states that any color can be defined by three values or stimulus values. In the case of the CIE XYZ model, these values are X, Y, and Z. The XYZ components of CIE XYZ model represent the amount of energy absorbed by the eye's three types of cones is response to stimulus. X represents the stimulation of L cones, Y represents the combined stimulation of all three types of cones, and Z represents stimulation of S cones. The value of XYZ are calculated by integrating the spectral distribution of the light source with the color matching function of CIE standard observer. The color matching function describes the sensitivity of the human eye to the different wavelengths of light and are used to stimulate the eye's response to a stimulus. The values of x, y, and z can be thought of as component of a vector that defines the color of stimulus in the CIE XYZ color space. By varying the various of x, y, and z, it is responsible to create any color within the color gamut of the CIE XYZ color space. One important property of the CIE XYZ color space is that it is a device independent color space. This means that color can be described in terms of the stimulus values without reference to a particular device such as a camera or printer. This makes CIE's XYZ model useful for color communication and color management in a variety of industries, including printing, image, and lighting. Objectives and standardize. There are various advantages of CIE XYZ model. Is an objective and standardized color space that is based on the color matching function of the CIE standard observer. Device independent. It is also a device independent model, which means that color can be described in terms of which disturbance values without reference or a particular device. Wide gamut. The CIE XYZ color space has wide gamut, which means that it can represent a large range of colors that are visible to human eye. This makes it useful for applications that require higher color fidelity. There are also disadvantages of CIE XYZ model. Non-linear. It's a non-linear color space, which means that it does not correspond directly to the way in which humans perceive color. For example, the perceived difference between two colors may not be proportional to the difference in which stimulus values. This can make it difficult to predict how color will appear under different lighting conditions or in different devices. Limited perceptual relevance. The CIE XYZ model is based on the tristimulus theory of color, which assumes that color perception is based solely on the response of the L, M, and S cones in the human eye. Limited use of image processing. While CIE XYZ model is useful for color communication and color management, it is always best choice for image processing applications such as color correction or image editing. This is because the non-linear nature of CIE XYZ color space can make it difficult to achieve the desired color transformations. Conclusion. Let's talk about the conclusion of CIE XYZ model, which is a standardized color space that provides an objective way to quantify, compare colors. It is also based on color matching function of the CIE standard. Despite of the limitations, the CIE XYZ model is essential for understanding managing color in the various industries. It allows for consistent and accurate color communication and color management, which is critical for achieving high color fidelity products and services. If you have any question, you can put down in my comment section and I would like to answer about it, and I would be glad if you ask a question about it. Thank you very much for listening to me.